There's a nut. Not just any nut. A nut so big, it defies the laws of nature and reason. It's not a metaphor. It's real. It's been called the biggest nut ever. Some say it was found in a forgotten grove, buried beneath the roots of an ancient tree. It's not just big, it's heavy. The weight of history, the weight of mystery, all condensed into one unyielding shell. This nut is more than food. It's a symbol, a reminder that nature can be both beautiful and bizarre, and that some things are too vast to comprehend. We don't know where it came from. Maybe it fell from a tree that no longer stands. Maybe it's been waiting for someone to find it, to understand it. So what exactly are we talking about? It's not just a nut. It's a relic, a fossilized seed, a whisper from a time before human hands touched the earth. This isn't any ordinary nut. It's the largest ever recorded, a specimen so rare, it's almost mythic in its scale and age. Scientists say it's over a foot long, a seed that once belonged to a tree that no longer exists, a species lost to time. The weight of history is in its shell. It's not just a nut. It's a message from the past, a reminder of how little we truly know. We talk about it now, but it's not ours to hold. It's a part of something bigger, something we may never fully understand. It's not just about the size of the nut. It's about the scale of our own insignificance, the way we cling to tiny victories in a universe that doesn't care. We measure our lives in years, in progress, in purpose. But this nut, this one, has no calendar, no meaning, no destination. It just is. The bigger the nut, the more it forces us to confront our smallness. It's a mirror that doesn't flatter, but challenges. It asks, what are you doing with your time? Maybe that's the point. Not to impress anyone, but to remind us that there is something beyond us. Something vast, ancient, and indifferent. And maybe that's enough. You don't have to care about the biggest nut. But if you do, it might change the way you see everything. And that, in itself, is a kind of victory. The first known nut, a wild chestnut, was buried in the soil of ancient forests, its shell hardened by time and untouched by human hands. As humans walked the earth, they stumbled upon these buried treasures, unaware of the power they held within their tough shells. In the hands of early civilizations, the nut was more than food. It was a relic of the wild, a link to the past that few dared to open. As the world grew faster, the nut was forgotten, its significance lost in the noise of progress, its potential left locked in its shell. Yet, in the quiet of the present, we still reach for the nut, not just as sustenance, but as a reminder of what was once sacred and now barely remembered. Imagine a nut so big, it could hold a whole apple inside. It's not just big, it's like a world all by itself. This nut isn't just heavy. It's like a time capsule, holding the memory of a tree that once stood tall and proud. To hold this nut is to hold the weight of 1,000 years, the silence of a tree that once whispered to the wind. It's not just the size that matters. It's the stillness, the patience, the quiet promise of something that was, and could be again. The biggest nut ever isn't just big. It's a reminder of how small we are and how much the world can hold. It's not a nut. It's a moment, a memory, a heartbeat in the silence of the forest.
The first step is the setup. A massive, hollowed-out shell like the remains of a forgotten giant lies in the earth waiting to be found. It's not just any shell. It's the container for something unimaginable, something that once grew from the soil. The shell is not empty. It's a vessel, a cradle of life. It has been shaped by years of growth, its interior smooth and curved, a perfect chamber for the seed that once rested inside. The weight of history rests in its walls. The setup is more than a container, it's a promise. A promise that, given the right conditions, this tiny, fragile life form can rise again, break through the shell and reach for the sky. This is how it all begins, not with a burst of light or sound, but with stillness. The waiting, the holding. The setup is the first step, the foundation upon which everything else will rest. Inside the shell, the mechanism is a delicate dance of pressure and balance. Each seed is cradled in a chamber, protected by layers of nature's own engineering. When the time comes, the pressure builds, a slow release of force that triggers the release of the seeds. It's a silent, calculated act of survival. The mechanism is not just about dispersal. It's about ensuring that the seeds reach the right place, at the right time, to begin their own journey. This is the quiet power of nature, a system so old, so refined, that it still holds the ability to shape the world around it. And in this, we see not just a seed, but a message. A reminder of how even the smallest things can carry the weight of the world. The clever twist isn't just about size, it's about how the nut defies expectation. It doesn't just hold things in, it holds itself together. Each ridge is a line of strength, a seam of resilience. It's not just holding things in, it's holding itself in, defying gravity, defying time. This is the twist, how something so small can hold so much, not just in terms of weight, but in meaning, in memory, in the quiet strength of being held. It's not just about the nut. It's about the idea of holding on, holding in, holding back, and in doing so, holding everything together. Beneath the weight of the world, the nut's shell is more than a shell. It's a pressure vessel, a silent fortress holding back the crushing force of the earth itself. The biology of the nut is a marvel of natural engineering, where growth and decay are locked in a delicate, ancient balance, a dance between life and the inevitable. The shell, though seemingly rigid, is a living memory of the tree's struggle, a record of time, pressure, and the slow, patient work of nature. Even in death, the nut resists, its structure holds, its form remains, a testament to the quiet strength that defies the passage of time. To hold such a thing is to hold the weight of the world, and to know that in the end, even the strongest things do not last. It's like trying to fit a whale into a teacup. You can't really do it. You can only imagine it, and in that imagination, the scale becomes absurd, the proportions become impossible. We try to grasp it, to measure it, to compare it to something we can understand. But the bigger it gets, the more we lose the ability to truly see it. We are all just trying to hold onto a concept that's too vast, too heavy, too full of meaning to be contained in any single frame of our minds. It's not about the nut. It's about the weight of trying to hold something that was never meant to be held. And in that silence, we remember that some things are too big to understand, and that's okay. It's not a failure, it's just the truth. There's a part of the story that feels like it's from a dream, like it's too strange to be real. But it's not. It's the moment the nut was found, buried deep in the earth, untouched by time. No one knows exactly how it got there. Maybe it was dropped by an ancient creature, or maybe it was carried by the wind from a distant forest. The truth is, we don't know, but we feel it. It's in that silence, that space between the stories, that the nut feels most real. It's not just a nut. It's a question, a pause, a moment of stillness in a world that never stops moving. That's the part that sounds made up but isn't. It's not a myth, not a fable. It's a truth we've forgotten how to name, and it's still there, waiting for us to look. The first myth we're busting is the idea that there's a single, definitive, biggest nut ever. It's a myth born from the human need to categorize, to name, to declare a winner in a world full of uncertainty. We're told there's one nut that's bigger than all the rest, but in reality, the world is filled with countless variations, each shaped by time, climate, and evolution. No single nut can hold the title forever. The myth is comforting, but it's also misleading. It gives the illusion of finality, as if the world's history of nuts ends with a single, decisive moment. But the truth is more complex, more layered, more alive. By busting this myth, we open the door to a more honest, more human way of looking at the world. One that embraces the unknown, the evolving, the ever-changing nature of everything we think we know. The idea that there's a single, definitive, biggest nut ever is a myth. It's not about size alone, but about the meaning we attach to it. A nut isn't just a nut. It's a symbol, a metaphor, a story. People chase the biggest nut as if it were a prize, but what they're really chasing is validation. It's a way to say, I've seen the real thing. But the real thing is never just about size. The biggest nut ever is not a thing. It's a concept, a story we tell ourselves. And like all myths, it's more powerful for being incomplete, for being something we can never truly grasp. So when you hear the myth of the biggest nut ever, remember, it's not about the nut. It's about the story we're trying to tell and the truth that lies just beyond the shell. Everyday life is a tapestry woven with threads of the unseen, and the biggest nut ever is hiding in the quiet corners of our routines. It's not a thing you see, but something you feel. In the hum of the refrigerator, the clatter of dishes, the silence between words, it's there, just beneath the surface, waiting to be noticed. The biggest nut ever is not a monster, but a weight, a pressure that shapes the way we live, the way we move, the way we breathe. It's in the way we carry ourselves, in the spaces we avoid, in the things we never say. It's a presence that lingers, even when it's not there. The biggest nut ever is not a thing to be found, it's a thing to be lived with. And it's hiding right here in the everyday, in the quiet, in the unspoken. There was a time when the world looked at a single, massive nut and saw not just a seed, but a symbol of something greater than itself. It was a nut so big, so heavy, that it defied all expectations of what a nut could be. A relic of a time when the world was still young and the trees were giants. People came from far and wide, not just to see it, but to touch it, to feel the weight of its history, and to understand what it meant to be part of something so immense. But the nut, for all its grandeur, was not invincible. It was fragile, and in the end it cracked under the weight of time and the expectations placed upon it. And so, the biggest nut ever became more than just a nut. It became a metaphor for the things we hold onto, the things we build, and the things we eventually lose. There is a tree, ancient and gnarled, that holds the title of the largest nut the world has ever known. It stands alone, a silent witness to time, its branches heavy with the weight of history. This nut, once a seed, grew into something colossal. It was not cultivated, not forced, but allowed to grow in its own time, shaped by the elements and the patience of the earth. Scientists have studied it, measured it, documented it. Yet, even with all their tools, they can only grasp a fraction of what it represents, a living monument to patience and endurance. This nut is more than a record. It is a relic, a memory of the world before human hands shaped the land. It reminds us of what we have lost and what we can still become. The nut cracks open, and the world inside is not what it seemed. A burst of heat, a sound like thunder, and the ground begins to tremble beneath it. The energy released isn't just heat. It's a force that rips through the earth, sending shockwaves through the land and sky like a silent earthquake. Structures crumble, trees snap like twigs, and the very air seems to vibrate with an invisible, unbearable pressure. The world is no longer the same. The nut, once a marvel, has become a wound in the earth, a scar that will never fully heal. And in the silence that follows, the only sound is the whisper of the earth, reminding us that some forces are never meant to be unleashed. No one tells you the nut is a tomb. It's not just big, it's a monument to the weight of our choices. The people who planted it didn't know it would grow this way. They just wanted a tree, a place, a home for the earth. You can't carry it. You can't even imagine how it feels in your hands. It's not just heavy, it's a burden. It's not a prize, it's a question. What did we do to make something so vast, so impassable, so lonely? The brochure doesn't say it's a tomb. It says it's a wonder, but the wonder is heavy. The wonder is a weight. We didn't just stumble upon the answer. We had to look and look hard through centuries of dust and wonder. The first records of the nut came from travelers and traders, who brought back stories of a seed so big, it defied imagination. They measured what they could, and guessed what they couldn't, all while knowing they were chasing something bigger than themselves. It wasn't just about the nut. It was about the question, how did something so big even exist in the first place? And in asking that, they began to understand the weight of the world, not just in stones and soil, but in the minds that tried to measure it. There's a story about a nut so big, it didn't just break records, it rewrote the rules of what a nut could be. It was found in the back of a farm, half buried in soil, like it had been waiting for someone to notice it for decades. Eventually, it was sent to a specialist, a botanist who had spent his life studying the weird and the wild, and even he was stunned by its size. He called it an anomaly, a relic of a forgotten species, A nut that had grown too big to be natural, maybe even too big to be real. Now it sits in a museum, a silent monument to the possibility that the world is full of things we've never even imagined. What if we didn't just find the biggest nut ever, but created it? What if we shaped it, molded it, made it bigger than any natural force could ever produce? We could harness its power, not for survival, but for dominance. Imagine a world where this nut is not a symbol of nature, but of control, a weapon in the hands of those who seek to shape reality to their will. We could even use it as a metaphor, a symbol of unchecked ambition, a reminder of how easily we can twist nature's gifts into instruments of power and destruction. But in doing so, we would lose something. The wonder, the mystery, the quiet awe of finding something so vast and natural. We would become the ones who built the nut, not the ones who discovered it. Imagine holding something so heavy, it bends the air around it. The biggest nut. Comment this emoji if you made it to the end.